and an army of snakes came pouring in.
For Venom TV, I'm Jim Cerny, and we're hanging out here at the Icetime Sports Complex in Newburgh with goalie Eli Bowers. And Eli, thanks for a few minutes.
Thank you.
So most hockey players tell you kind of get through training camp, and then that season opener when it's getting closer and closer, they're like, I'm done with camp, done with practice, I'm ready for games. Is that your vibe right now? Is that the vibe in this room?
Yeah, a lot less practices, easier on the body, I think. So we're just excited to have our first game.
Yeah, tell me what you saw from this group in training camp, and how do you feel things went for yourself?
I think it went well. I think everyone's a pretty hard worker, and we just got to get systems down and just put everything together and hopefully pull out a W.
Tell me a little bit about your summer, getting prepared for this, really hopefully going to be your first full season in the FPHL after playing a little bit with Elmira last year. Tell me a little bit about how you prepared for this opportunity.
I've been skating nonstop over the summer with a bunch of guys in the AHL and the NHL. Colin Blackwell, Anders Bjork, Spencer Statsny, Michael Caro.
Now that's pretty good, and I'm sure nobody beat Eli Bowers, right?
They sometimes would go barring, so that's expected.
So tell me a little bit about what you learned from your experience last year, your first whack at professional hockey here in the FPHL playing with Elmira. Tell me a little bit about your experience.
Just getting used to the pro level. It's a little different than coming from juniors, and then I had 2 years off because I blew out my knee, so it's a little wake-up call to how to be a pro and whatnot.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about those two areas. One, having to come back from such a serious injury, and kind of what you learned about yourself coming back from that. Let's start with that.
It was a pretty grueling 2-year rehab, and then I just kept on going at it and didn't want to stop playing hockey.
It's one thing to, every year, hey, it's hockey season, hockey's what I do, and then you lose it, and you realize how badly you want it. Is that kind of the experience you have?
Yeah, it sucked being in rehab and not being able to skate or do anything, so I wouldn't recommend that for anyone, to be honest.
Tell us about the experience in Elmira last year and what you learned about the pro game. What was the biggest difference that you saw playing the pro game as opposed to playing in junior?
You got to perform. If you don't perform, you're out the door, and that's probably the biggest thing, I guess.
So there's competition here. There were a lot of goalies in camp. Another goalie arrives, earlier today. But goalies tend to have this great relationship amongst themselves. It's kind of like a team within a team. Tell me a little bit about how that's been growing so far in training camp heading to opening night.
It's been going good. Moriarty, I've been getting to know him pretty well. There's only 2 spots usually. It's a pretty weird position, and it's a hard position too, I guess. So we bond over that too.
Yeah, it's interesting because goalies are always called a special breed anyway, right? But because nobody really understands the goalie except the goalies, fellow goalies. So who are you going to turn to? Well, it's the guy that maybe you're competing with too. But yet I always find, I shouldn't say always, but a lot of times you find in hockey that despite the competition, the guys are working together, helping each other, and moving along towards a common good for the individual and for the team when it comes to the goalies.
We learn from each other and figure out, like, hey, your short side's open or whatnot, you're not doing this, blah, blah, blah. We tell each other that. We
were talking before the camera started rolling, going to be heading down to the big city, heading down to New York this weekend.
To watch my sister play against Columbia in women's lacrosse.
Now, that's pretty cool. You taking any of the boys with you?
Hopefully David Gaeta.
All right. Somebody's got to ride shotgun with you. Right?
Yeah.
You've never driven in Manhattan, right?
Chicago, so it's a little the same.
I was going to say, that's kind of the same. You should be all right then. Well, he's heading down this weekend, but before you do that, we got opening night, you got back-to-back games, and just against the defending champions in the league. You got the home game Friday, the road game Saturday. Kind of your mindset heading into it.
Just got to stay calm and be myself and trust myself.
Good stuff. He's Eli Bowers, goalie for the Venom, and they indeed kick off the regular season this Friday, 7 p.m. at Icetime Sports Complex. Eli, thanks for a few minutes.
Thank you for having me.